There is a room underneath the stadium that most people never see. It is small, it is quiet. And before every match, Rafael Nadal would go there alone. He would sit down, roll up his sock, and inject anesthesia directly into his own foot. Not once, every match, for years. Then he would stand up, walk out into the sunlight, and smile for 15,000 people. They saw the greatest tennis player who ever lived. They never saw the room. In 2005, Rafael Nadal was 19 years old and the best tennis player on clay the world had ever seen. He had just won his first French Open. The crowd was on its feet. His name was everywhere. But in the locker room, away from the cameras, something else was happening. He was collapsing. Not from exhaustion, not from emotion. His foot, the one he'd been running on, sliding on, winning on, was in agony. The kind of agony that doesn't announce itself. It just quietly destroys. The doctors had a name for it. Müller-Weiss disease. A rare condition. Most people never hear about it. Here's what it means in plain language. The navicular bone in his foot was dying. Not metaphorically, literally. The bone was disintegrating, fragmenting under the weight of everything he was asking his body to do. The bone was collapsing from the inside. The doctors told him the truth plainly. His career might already be over. At 19, before it had really begun. Most people, hearing that, would have walked away, and no one would have blamed them. Nadal made a different decision. He decided he wasn't going to stop playing tennis. He was going to stop feeling it. On court, Rafael Nadal looked like a man who had never been hurt in his life. He sprinted for balls that had already passed him. He slid across clay like it was ice and came up swinging. He roared. He pumped his fist. He wore opponents down through sheer, relentless will until they stopped believing they could beat him. The crowd loved it. Analysts called it controlled aggression. Commentators called it the bull style. Everyone had a name for what they saw. Nobody saw what happened after. The moment he stepped off court, he couldn't hide it anymore. The walk to the locker room, that short corridor most players don't even think about, Nadal took it slowly, carefully. Sometimes with a visible limp he couldn't hide even if he tried. Teammates saw it. Staff saw it. They stopped talking about it. He would sit alone, ice the foot, tape it, rest it just long enough to do it all again tomorrow. And then tomorrow, he would walk back out and sprint like nothing had ever happened. But here is the part that gets overlooked. The physical pain was one thing. The body can be managed, numbed, pushed past its limits. Nadal had proven that repeatedly. The mental weight was something else entirely, because every single morning, Rafael Nadal woke up not knowing if today was the day his foot finally gave out for good. Every match could be his last. Every tournament, every title, he carried that knowledge with him onto the court and buried it somewhere the cameras couldn't find. Performing at the highest level in the world, while knowing your body could quit on you at any moment, and no one else could see it. Most people crack under that, not from the pain itself, but from the anticipation of it. Nadal didn't crack. He ritualized it. The water bottles aligned perfectly before every serve, the precise routine before each point. What the world called superstition or quirk, those rituals were armor. A way of controlling something in a life where the most important thing, his own body, was entirely out of his control. He built a wall between what he felt and what he showed, and for years, it held. 17 years later, Roland Garros. Rafael Nadal is 36 years old. The foot is worse. The disease has progressed, and the injections that once dulled the pain now have to do something more extreme. block it entirely. He played the entire French Open with a dead foot. Not sore, not painful, dead. He couldn't feel his toes. He was running, sliding, serving on a foot he couldn't feel against the best players in the world. And he won every round, all the way to the title. But in the press conference after the final, something changed. He sat there, French Open trophy beside him, and said quietly that he couldn't keep doing this. That playing this way, numbing himself match by match, wasn't something he could sustain. And for a moment, he wasn't the greatest tennis player in the world. And that was the first time people saw what had been there all along. On September 26, 2024, Nadal retired. He stood in front of the cameras one last time, calm, clear-eyed, at peace. He didn't leave because the pain won. He left because he had nothing left to prove, not to the crowd, not to the records, not to that room. 22 Grand Slams on a foot that was turning to dust.
Most of us will never hold a Grand Slam, but we all have something we don't talk about. Maybe it's not a foot. Maybe it's something you carry and hide before anyone sees. A version of you that only exists behind closed doors. We all hide something before we step out and smile. This was something bigger than the game. It's about choosing what matters over the pain. For 20 years, his body was breaking. He didn't. So ask yourself, what's the version of you no one ever sees? If you are not following the Imaginarium, you'll probably never see us again. And if you are, you're growing every day.